Still connected, yay. Hello, ladies. Hello. So you've slept a full night even. Maybe one makeup from needing to put your feet out. But when you wake up, you're still tired. Not sleepy tired, bone tired. The kind of tired that a good night's sleep is supposed to fix, but it doesn't. You think, what's the point of sleeping if I still feel like this? Immediately women think, what's wrong? Why am I feeling like this? So why does this happen? Hi, Nikki. It's about sleep, that there's tiredness that sleep refreshes. Okay, so after you've slept, then you wake up feeling refreshed. But exhausted is a different thing. It's where sleep doesn't fix it. And your sleep and rest are not the same thing. In fact, in my program, I teach my ladies about the 7 types of rest. So rest and sleep are very, very different kettles of fish. And you can get hours of one without any of the other. Your nervous system stuck in overload keeps working through the night, even while you're unconscious. Cortisol patterns can flatten or spike at the wrong times, leaving you wired but tired. But real recovery happens in the nervous system, not just the number of hours you're in bed. So this is where, I want you to think, it's not about, I'm going to have to turn my heater off before I pass out. Close the door so that my dog doesn't come in, and it means the oxygen starts to decrease in my room and it starts to get hotter. All right, so the problem isn't just that you wake up tired. The problem is what it costs you across the day. You reach for caffeine and sugar just to function. You have less patience for the people that you love, or those you work with. You stop doing the things that would actually help because you don't have the energy left. Exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix doesn't stay in the morning. It runs through your whole entire day. And that's your whole body. That's impact. Okay. So what helps? What can you do? You can stop measuring. Stop measuring in hours slept. Start measuring it in how switched off you actually feel. Build in nervous system recovery during the day, not just at bedtime. Look beyond sleep hygiene. The amount of ladies that I talk to that say, oh, I've got a really good nighttime routine. I turn my phone off. I read in bed, but it might be too late, right? So consider what's gone on during the day. Consider your adrenal load, your blood sugar, how long the tank has been running low. There's more to it than that. More to it than just reading a book when you go to bed. So exhaustion, as I said, is one of the clearest signs that sleep is not the sole problem, right? And sorry, birds flying at my window. What fascinates me is how many women push through this for years, assuming it's just what midlife feels like. And that's what I'm going to be exploring this week in the workshop as well, because there's so much more to it. And women just don't seem to, the things that I hear. So women will reduce caffeine in the afternoon or double it up because they're so exhausted they feel they need that to keep going. They will try melatonin. They will try the good old executive B formula. How many people, put your hands up, fess up time, how many women have been exhausted so they reach for the caffeine, the sugar, the pick-me-ups, the energy drinks, right, which are all undermining what's really going on. It's all undermining what you really need. And the B formula, so it's like kicking a dead horse. You're pushing those adrenals, you're pushing yourself through. And as I say, there's sleep, then there's rest, and then there's recovery. There's also these little battery cells in your body called mitochondria. And mitochondrial dysfunction is something that a lot of people don't realize is going on. So as I said, the mitochondria are like the batteries of your cells. And we need to feed them. We need to make sure they're getting the fuel they need. And that's part of it. There's also, as I say, your body scanning for danger. We've got to address that. There's also what you do during the day, and there's how you start your morning, right? So starting your morning, the way you start your morning has as much impact as how you finish your day for sleep. But the main point of all this is that exhaustion that despite 8 hours sleep, you know, the waking up dog tired, bone tired, still feeling exhausted. The B formulas are only going to work if you're low in Bs. If you're low in Bs, why? If you are you eating right? And if you are, is your body absorbing them? Because, you know, one of the things that I say that the frustrating part that I hear is I'm tired of being tired, but women keep pushing through. They've stopped feeling energetic. They stop doing the things that bring them joy. They wake up already negotiating with themselves. How much do I really have to do today? Can I get through? They already go into a panic mode because they wake up and they feel tired and like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get through the day? So you already got that dread, that negativity, right? So feeling exhausted every day is common, but common doesn't automatically make it normal. Somewhere we've normalized surviving. We've normalized saying, I'm just getting older. I'm just busy. This is life. I'm being pulled, you know, the sandwich generation. I'm trying to juggle mum's medical appointments, dad's worry about mum, but then I'm also running around trying to help the kids with the grandkids, whatever. Plus you're working. It's got to look at that invisible load that you're carrying, right? Because that is part of it. But there's what else are you putting in? What else are you putting in to balance that out, right? So the conversation that people aren't having, you know, most people think exhaustion means you need more sleep. But I'm interested in something different. I'm interested in, is your body actually restoring itself when you're asleep? So that's what I'm saying. There's sleep, there's rest, there's recovery. So and restoration, right? So rest from restoration. So because sleep and restoration, as I said, are not the same thing. You can spend 8 hours in bed. They say what's the old saying? As you get older, you spend more time in bed and less time sleeping. And that's not necessarily because you're getting up to other things, because light is sleeper. Light is sleeper. Sleep is lighter. Right. And you might even sleep what you deem as reasonably well and still wake up exhausted. And you've got to think, what is your body trying to do while you're sleeping? It does, it detoxifies is one thing, and even our brain detoxifies at night. So they've shown that the brain cells increase and decrease in size during your sleep. So it's your brain detoxifying. So it goes into repair mode. It's trying to balance your hormones. It's trying to support your immune system. It's trying to process memories and file things away. It's trying to restore your energy. If your body is under pressure, those restorative processes don't always happen as efficiently. So the question becomes not how long did you sleep? It is, why isn't your body waking up refreshed? Another question I ask is about memory, dream recall. Right? Do you remember your dreams? Because that's another indicator of your sleep quality. There's also, as we know, there's ebbs and flows with our circadian rhythm. And how long are you spending in the REM? How long you're spending in your deep, and how much time you're sleeping in your light, spending in your light sleep, right? So this is where I think most women have been let down. They're often told, you're just getting older. It's just menopause. Those things are part of the story, absolutely, but rarely the whole story. Right? When I'm working with a woman who says, I'm tired of being tired, I'm exhausted, I'm bone tired, I'm dog tired, all those things, I'm becoming curious about a lot of other things. How long has this been happening? What changed? How's your nervous system coping? What are you trying to cope with? Are you waking through the night? Are you tossing and turning? What else is happening for you? Right? Is blood sugar a problem? Is inflammation a problem? Is thyroid contributing? Is it that you're carrying years of stress that your body simply hasn't recovered from? Because sometimes we just brush things under the carpet, don't we, ladies? Because exhaustion isn't a diagnosis, it's a symptom. And symptoms rarely appear out of nowhere. So when women stay exhausted for long enough, their world quietly becomes smaller. As I said, you stop doing things that bring you joy. You stop doing the things that's actually going to help the sleep in the first place. So you stop exercising because you don't have the energy. You stop seeing friends. Your patience disappears. Right? Your confidence changes. Right? You stop recognizing yourself as who you used to be. Eventually, you don't just believe you're exhausted. You start believing this is who I am now. And that's the part I hate, because exhaustion becomes identity. And it isn't your identity. So if you were to see me in clinic, I'd be asking, how can we give you more energy? I'd ask, what's stealing it? Because restoring energy and chasing energy are very different things. As I say, I'd be looking at sleep quality, stress, hormonal changes, nutrition, inflammation, your thyroid health, iron levels, your story. Not because every woman has the same answer. That's the point. Because every exhausted woman deserves someone curious enough to look, right? To have a look at what is going on for you. So if you've listened today and thought, that feels like me, please don't settle for, it's just my age. Your body is communicating. It deserves curiosity, not criticism. And that's exactly what I'll be creating, what I've been putting into and working on, including in the workshop, Why Can't I Switch Off Even When I Get a Chance to, the workshop that's happening on Wednesday, because so often exhaustion isn't simply about being busy. It's about the body that's forgotten how to truly restore itself. I'd love you to join me. I know that it's midday Wednesday, that some of you will be at work, but I did put a poll up in the group. And by far the majority of people ticked midday Wednesday. So that's when I'm holding it. I know that that's not going to suit everybody, but no time suits everybody. I've held these workshops on Sunday afternoons, weeknight evenings. It's not going to suit everybody. So it is at lunchtime on lunchtime. So it will be within the hour for those who have a lunch break. Love to see some more of you there so we can really cover these. But hope that this is hope this has been value for you tonight. And let me know if you have questions. Okay, bye for now.